the secret files of Teletraan 2.
Hello everyone. There, you've learned a word. It is time for another Files of Teletraan 2, and we are talking about Transformers again. It's like some sort of
God!
backwards time, like 2018.
Oh my God.
Yeah, for this one we are catching up on King Grimlock, the very strange book that came out of nowhere. And let's see who's writing this one. Steve Orlando, who is a fairly well-known artist on the DC side of things.
Oh, artist, but not writer.
Writer, sorry.
Oh, okay. What have they done?
So they've done a lot of fill-in on stuff like Wonder Woman, some Batman and Justice League. He's most well-known for writing Midnighter and Martian Manhunter, both very well-received runs.
Oh, wow.
Won the odd award and stuff like that.
Okay.
So the art, I'll explain what King Grimlock is in a second, but the art is by Augustin Padilla. Also, hi Andy.
Hi.
My brain is all over the place.
Oh my God. You should put that back in.
Art is by Augustin Padilla, who has done Transformers before. He did the artwork on Rage of the Dinobots all those many moons ago, and the Beast Hunters comic, but he hasn't worked on them since.
Okay.
And colors by Jeremy Colwell, who's new to the franchise, and letters by Jake M. Wood, who's not Tom B. Long. And, of course, the usual trio editors, David Mariotti, Tom Waltz, and Riley Farmer. So, this book was marketed as Grimlock Wanders into D&D.
Okay.
Reading it is more Grimlock Wanders into Conan the Barbarian, with a bit of D&D.
Okay.
I've been playing D&D, so, I mean...
You fucking nerd. Get off my podcast. This is only for manly jocks and chads, not virgin nerds. Jesus.
I mean, you could be both.
No.
You can.
Not possible.
You can. You've played... I've seen you play an RPG.
That's true. That's true.
No.
Actually, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. And we've been threatened with it again. This is basically... ripping off, maybe not, deeply inspired by Mad Men's Paradise, which is an episode I didn't like.
I'd say inspired by is very generous.
Yeah, it brings it. What it does is take a lot of elements from that and then just reinvent them.
I would say it just stretches it out. I say it stretches out a 25-minute episode into 5 issues and adds nothing new.
I would disagree with that.
Okay, I'll be interested to hear why.
Because, I mean, I don't like Mad Men's Paradise at all.
No, it's a bad episode. It's not a good episode.
And I don't think this is bad. And I was very surprised to hear that, or to feel that way. But, in all honesty, because, I'm not positive on the Transformers comics at the moment, but...
No. That's what disappointed me about this. So you were, really excited when I read it. I
wasn't really excited, but I was surprised.
Well, when I say excited, you were saying, positive things about it, which made me go, oh, and then I read it, I was like, oh.
Yeah, even at issue 3, I still have positive things to say.
Okay.
So this will be interesting.
Yeah.
So, we're going to run through these all in one, I think, and then I don't think we'll go for a rating on this one.
Is that because it's not finished? Yeah, probably because it's not finished, right?
Not finished, and doing 3 issues at once, I don't really feel like going this issue is a 5, this issue is a 10, blah, blah, blah.
No.
Each comic is named after a Conan the Barbarian book.
Oh, wow.
So, Grimlock the Rebel, Grimlock the Defender, and Grimlock the Avenger.
Do you think the next issue would be Grimlock the Sex Fiend?
Grimlock and his amazing... What was the name of the Conan Barbarian and the whatever friends he had?
What?
The one where he had, where he had the pomegranate eating Phoenix in the 90s.
Oh, yeah, Conan the Adventurer.
There we go. Grimlock the Adventurer. That'll be the last
Where were you getting that from? I was like, what?
Conan. He's strong as steel. It was a song.
It's right, yeah.
Book opens with Grimlock and the Dinobots picking a fight with Mechanibals, who apparently made a move on them under the eye of Optimus, who's not very pleased with this. And says they've had a treaty and these are just weird rogue guys. Grimlock, not really having any of it. They're about to have a bit of a spat when the ground erupts around them Grimlock says he'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission and shoves Prime out of the way. And then Grimlock gets the Sekite.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. And I'd like to point out a truck was in the vicinity.
Was it? Oh, yeah, technically Prime's truck. Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
What we didn't see was he transformed and drove into him in the back.
It wouldn't be a shock, because Grimlock is what we call a problem maker.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
Anyway, Grimlock wakes up in a medieval jungle type of area where he squishes some poor bird.
Is that a cockatrice?
It's listed here as a cockatrice, yes.
Hey, I'm a smart boy.
Yeah, he makes his way through and he's attacked by giant cat elephant things called Leodons. They seem to be overwhelming him, but he transforms and sets them on fire, as is his habit. He transforms back. He's confronted by some humans, led by Arnak and his daughter Arco, who apparently summoned him here to defeat the Golden One, who in the cartoon was generic wizard dragon hero, and this guy is a lunatic driven mad by power. And they're so happy to see you, Optimus Prime. That doesn't go down well with Grimlock, and he says, no, you called the wrong guy. Arco is not happy about this. She's acting up and says Grimlock's a coward. And then Grimlock he just leaves. Grimlock wanders off. The Golden One, meanwhile, has realized that Grimlock has showed up, and he says, wow, ye fucked up. You called the wrong dude. And as Grimlock leaves, Arnak and Arco are arguing about whether or not they really need him. Arco thinks that he seems strong, but like if he's this stubborn, she's going to bring him to heel. And as Grimlock's leaving, he's attacked by Cyclopses, which are brandishing the Autobot emblem, which seems surprising. Which it turns out we will find out is like an ancient symbol on this planet because the Cybertronian visited once before. Naturally, attacking Grimlock usually doesn't end well for anyone, and it doesn't. He takes out the Cyclopses, but then he's eaten by a big plant monster. Or a big giant worm plant monster thing. Arco gets involved, manages to free him from tendrils, and reveals that the only way out of him is, the gross way. So they basically, the two of them fight their way through the worm, burst out of his stomach. Grimlock asks about Soltron, who's the god Arco keeps referring to, and the god of the Golden One, whose face is apparently the Autobot symbol. Grimlock brings in the fact that he worships the Necrobots, and Dinobots just want to die a proper death to be recorded by the Necrobot, which I thought was an interesting idea. Anyway, Arco basically seems to prove she's got a bit of metal, and Grimlock says she can tag along because she seems to have a bit of a spine. They both wander onto a village that's under attack by the Red Wizard's army of Woodbots. Grimlock very quickly comes up with a paper-thin excuse to get involved. And despite Arco's not actually that pleased about it, when he gets involved in the fight, he realizes the Woodbots are basically like artificial Cybertronians in a way. Just sort of like seem to be made in a similar way, but they don't have sparks. He takes this rather personally and decides the Red Wizard needs to go down. The people of the village ask for his help, and he says he'll stay with them, train them, and then they will go up against the Red Wizard. Arco is like, no, you're going with me to deal with my guy. And she's like, nope, I'm dealing with this guy. It's personal. Cybertronian stuff's involved. And she says, so you're not fighting for me, but you'll pick a fight with anyone. You're just an idiot. And she storms off, which will naturally lead to a very positive result. Meanwhile, we see the Red Wizard is resurrecting zombies. A decayed Andy or two rises from the floor.
Yay.
And we see a time skip where Grimlock has taught the villagers how to fight. They're kind of worried he's going to wander off and do his own shit, and he's like, well, I'll stick around because this is tied to my shit, but I promise I won't leave. Which feels to me like he was kind of caught and like, well, oh shit, they figured it out. Well, I'm staying. While that's going on, Arco is kind of she's making armor out of a fallen Woodbot, one of the Red Wizard's 3 robot things, and curses Grimlock, and we have a flashback to her childhood where she was basically trying to save someone. Her father was saying, no, you need to let some people die, and this is her sort of learning her own version of that lesson, rather backwards, and she ends up taking one of the swords bearing the Autobot symbol. The Golden One, meanwhile, is attacking a village and is again kind of bragging about the fact that everyone keeps on going to Grimlock for help. How dumb are they? Grimlock leads his army up against the Red Wizard, and they get jumped by the trees. And then before Grimlock can intervene, he gets covered by zombies. But unfortunately, they're zombies, and he's a big metal dinosaur, so that doesn't really go their way. He pushes his way through into the Red Wizard's castle. The Red Wizard tries to take him out. It doesn't really go his way, and Grimlock slices him in half, revealing that he is a Quintesson, who reveals that all life on this planet is basically born or tied to Energon. So it's a blood of Soltron, the base of all life on the planet. So as he's dying, the Red Wizard says, I could have taken down the Golden One. You can't. You've just killed all these people. Grimlock then rips his body apart and brings it in front of the people to wave it like a trophy, and says that he's going to lead them in a fight against the Golden One because of the fact that the Golden One is tied to Cybertronian Energon. Like, this is something he feels like he has a need to fight for. And he comes up with a line like, Optimus loves saying freedom is the right of all sentient beings. He's wrong, it's justice. Meanwhile, Arco's gone to offer her services to the Golden One himself. And that's where issue 3 ends. So that's a summation.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, do you want to go first, or will I?
You can go first, because you have the positive things to say.
So I thought issue 1 was a really fast-paced kind of just thing. It wasn't terrible or anything. It didn't feel like it was adding anything to Grimlock as a character, or like it was like Grimlock kills stuff, and I was just like, that's okay. Like, I thought the writing was fairly good, although it's the me Grimlocks, which is something many people struggle with, and occasionally Steve Orlando definitely struggles with that, because this Grimlock is intelligent, but you have to get the right balance with using the Grimlock speech if you're going to do that. Issue 2 is when I really got into this, because issue 2 is basically a character study of Arco and Grimlock, and like delving into Grimlock's sense of spirituality, looking at Grimlock's way of finding excuses to help people. Like, he doesn't like, he says he gets involved with the attack on the village because these are strong people abusing their strength against the weak, and that's no way to win a fight. Which is, I think, taken from a TF Wiki line I wrote. So I think
You're always trying to take credit for things.
I
from
think
the
I might
wiki,
have written
Mikey.
this comic by accident.
You're always taking credit, Mikey. Disgusting.
Exactly. And it brings it, like, I think it, like, interestingly enough, expands the Grimlock's character in the way we rarely get. I think it's also interesting. It very quickly, like, cuts Arco off. She doesn't take the role of the mentee. She seems to be going down my brain goes to Kylo Ren immediately, but I hate Kylo Ren. I don't want to say Kylo Ren. And I think issue 3 is just kind of fun. It adds a bit more of that world. I think the fight choreography is decent. And I the fact that, like, they're just basically turned a lot of elements of Madman's Paradise into for me, a better story, I think is interesting. My real criticisms are art ones, but we will touch on that, I think, after. Actually, it's less the art and more the coloring versus the art, if I'm honest. But I am surprised by how into this I am. Like, okay. I really wasn't expecting to be. I think something I also really like is the fact it's something different. It's going like, this is not a Transformer story you've gotten before in terms of the comics or something like that. 'Cause Transformer comics are rarely brave, if I'm honest, in terms of, like, the genres they want to touch. Doing a sword and sorcery story, not something the comics would have really, like, especially this kind of, like, here's a whole miniseries of it, would have really touched before. Similarly, we've got the Halloween special out this month, which, spoilers, isn't very scary, but at least they're trying. And isn't great either, but at least they're trying. And we've also got the new Wrecker story, which is trying something different. And in the last year, we've had a lot of last couple of years, we've had the crossovers and whatnot. And I think it's a good sign this book was made. And the fact that I like it, I get almost against myself, is surprising for me. Like, I will say my rating for issue 1 is quite a bit below issue 2 and 3. And
okay.
I'm weirdly impressed, and I think that's the right way to put it. Weirdly impressed.
Okay.
Your thoughts, Andrew Milman?
Bored, and kept thinking I don't see this adding a huge amount to the G1 episode. The premise is exactly the same. Like I said before, just stretched out. It's got some better bits with Grimlock in there, I guess. But the overall story itself, I find dreadfully dull. Because it is literally what we've seen before. Like, obviously, because I've seen that episode, it's like, oh, the Red Wizard was a quintesson. I'm like, yep. Just like in the episode. Do something a bit different. I don't like the girl. I find her incredibly irritating. She keeps calling Grimlock weak. She even takes a swipe at him with a sword. And I think to myself, yeah, well, you can't beat him, ever, so how weak are you if you're saying he's weak? She's meaning he's mentally weak, I think, rather than physically weak. But it's still pretty sad when she's like, oh, I'm so much stronger than you, and it's like, you can't kill him, though, so... if I put the two of you in a fight, I think I know who to put the money on. So you just, I'm so much stronger than you. It's
no,
like,
she knows Chinese wushu. She'll be fine.
Yeah. I also found it really annoying the part. I think it was in issue 3, wasn't it, where you got her backstory of like, we can't save them, and she's like, yes, we can. I saw the image of the dragons burning the boats, and I was like, okay, what do you want to do? What are you going to do? You going to do anything? Can you do anything? No? Then you got to save yourself.
Yeah, I think, well, the way I read that one was it's supposed to show like she's a child and dumb.
Yeah, but the problem is that's dumbness is being carried over to her adult self. She doesn't...
I like
what can
Arco,
she do?
if I'm honest. I like Arco
I hate
because she just comes across as just completely broken to me, and I like broken characters.
I find her annoying because she keeps prostrating, but she has no power herself. As far as we've seen.
That's actually what I like about her. To be honest. I'm kind of dreading like she's going to get superpowers and literally become Kylo Ren.
But the fact as well that she's like, I'm going to be super cool now and strap wood to my body. I'm like, yes, I remember in the olden days of wooden armor. That always works
alien
out
wood,
well.
Alien magic robot wood.
Is it alien magic wood? It just seemed to be wood, right?
No, it's made of the wood bot.
Is that magic? That just seems...
Well, they're walking trees.
That
That's
doesn't
saying,
mean
like,
it's
our
like
Ents
special
magic.
wood.
Ents are magic.
Yeah, it doesn't mean their wood is special.
They're special.
No. They are made of wood. It doesn't mean they have super hard magic wood.
Wow, Andy's
they are made of
racist.
wood.
Andy is wood racist. That's all that's coming across to me here, boy.
Yo, I have killed a lot of trees in Warhammer. I have killed a lot of stinky trees. You know what wood's weak against? This might surprise you. Fire. It's why I find that it's also a little bit hard to believe that is the reason that these people are struggling against these creatures. Because, they have fire. There's no way they couldn't get rid of them with a bit of fire. Sure, it'd be a fight. If you say that there's just too many of them, okay, fair enough. That'd be hard for them, not for Grimlock.
Well, it's not hard for Grimlock. They make that point quite frequently.
yeah. That's another thing that I didn't. There is no threat to Grimlock. There is nothing that.
I think
a threat to him.
I think the idea for that is that they're going to have him fight the dragon at the end.
Oh yeah. Obviously, that's what they're building up to. But in the meantime, it's like the only time he's struggled was with the worm, and I don't think he would have been stuck for long, to be honest. Otherwise, that would have been a really sad fate for Grimlock. So overall, I'm just not connecting with this. If I wanted to read a fantasy story, I would read something a lot more engaging and, in my opinion, a lot better than this. This just feels like a very flat story that's using a lot of the premise from a very, very mediocre G1 episode. And the only tidbits that we get of Grimlock's character, I think could have been done in a better story. We've had better Dinobot stories, even within IDW, I think do the Dinobots better. And I don't feel that this is one. And the artwork, like you said, sometimes I think the 2D line art is a bit messy in places. Sometimes it's fine. But the coloring does it no favors. The coloring is very flat, where I think it should be a bit more dynamic. I think the flat colors work on, like, the not metallic creatures.
Yeah,
but with Grimlock specifically, and on Cybertron, the flat colors do not work. They do not work. You need a lot more dynamic coloring because it makes them pop a lot more. If you color them flat like everything else, they just kind of mush into the organic scenery, at least for me.
So, I will say, like, this I will definitely agree. It's not an original take on Sword and Sorcery at all.
No.
It's not just hitting, like, it's not so much for me hitting the Madman's Paradise tropes. It's hitting sword and sorcery tropes with Madman Paradise ripped off. But I like I said, I like the novelty, but I also I am genuinely surprised by how much I'm enjoying it. Because Grimlock or not, I'm really surprised because I love fantasy and sword and sorcery.
I'm not sure you'd like it as much if it wasn't focused on Grimlock, though.
I don't know if I'd say that because what I like about Grimlock in this is the take on his character and add it. To me, they're touching on elements of his character no one's ever really gone into. Just that simple thing, why is Grimlock fighting this fight if he doesn't give a shit?
Yeah.
That's I think Grimlock's the only guy you could really put in this story and make it work. If you did, if it had been Optimus, if it had been Gears, especially modern IDW Gears, just he shows up and his arm falls off. But it has to be a character like that. You need a warrior type character, and you need someone who's not part of the norm, who's rebellious.
Do you not think it just kind of falls into the character trope of the sullen kind of hero who doesn't want to admit he wants to help people?
Because
I don't think it does more than that, though, than just add a minor character trait to Grimlock that may or may not have been there.
I don't think it adds it to it. I think it expresses it because that trait's been in Grimlock from day one. But
I say adds because it's not touched on. But a huge amount whenever it comes into a story.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's very rarely touched on, and I like the fact that this is making this a big part of his character.
Right.
So it's dealing with it's not necessarily here's a new element of Grimlock you didn't expect. Here's one that's been there for a while, but no one's really talked about. And here's someone we're getting pages of dialogue to dedicated to it, which I like. I don't know. Like I said, if I was rating this on the first issue, it would not be high. But it's issue 2 and 3 really have entertained me, and I've enjoyed it. Maybe it's one of those stories I'll come back to in a year's time and be a lot harder on. It's happened before, but at the moment, art wise, I think Augustine's work is very solid on the humans. I think Grimlock suffers because he's going for a bit of a stylized take on it. So I've just sent over, just for reference, I sent over his work in the Rage of the Dinobots. And he's not really fond of he's going for exaggerated proportions a lot, and it works in practice, but I think stills is when he looks the worst, and the colors really don't help.
The coloring in the shot that you sent me works a lot better for this.
This is more. I don't know who colored this, but it's more in the line of what Josh or Joanna would do.
Yeah,
I think this might have been. No, this was Priscilla. I think.
Oh, okay.
I think this was Priscilla. But these deeper colors, more obvious metallic sheen and lights and everything like that. The colors here, they're too flat. I think they're definitely too flat.
I think this might have looked better if it was just black and white with shading.
That would have been
instead of
cool.
The coloring.
That would have been cool, actually.
It also would have been a nice reference to old Conan comics, and if that's what they were going for, just lean harder into it, I guess. Maybe you can't sell black and white comics these days. I don't know.
Judge Dredd does it, but that's Judge Dredd.
Yeah, I was going to say, Judge Dredd can get away with it because it's usually pretty good, right?
At this stage, I haven't read 2000 AD in a few years, but from what I understand, is basically no. We just expect them to pull this kind of shit.
Here's a question: do you think normal Transformer comic readers would want this? Because I don't think they would.
Do you know?
I think they'd lean a bit more like me.
I think normal readers would like this more than normal Transformer comic readers.
Okay.
And
is it because there's not as much Transformers in it?
It's not just that. I think it's hitting a style that does appeal to more general comic readers, and they don't have the Madman's Paradise. Oh, it's a Quintesson red.
Yeah,
But
and at that point, I was reading know what a Quintesson is, I suppose. So that won't make any sense to them. They'll be
I was reading reviews, and it's been going down well.
Really? Okay.
In the broader community. So Transformers fans are so hard to read. In terms of what they like, I struggle so much. Some would go oh my god, it's a reference, that's the best thing ever, and oh my god, it's a reference, for fuck's sake. It's none of us are ever happy. Life is pain. Deal with it.
True.
So for me, it's kind of I think this is weirdly a more general audience comic than a Transformers comic.
Okay.
It's a general audience comic featuring Grimlock. So anyway, I definitely am interested to see more. Andy will suffer along with me because he has to.
That's right.
But we definitely won't touch on it again until issue 5, I think.
So it's only like 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 months, and then we'll finish her off.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the end of the main show. A bit of a short one today, but that's life. Deal with it. As I remind myself that Madman's Paradise is the one that featured both Daniel and the Apron.
That's right. It could have been worse. It could have been like the King Arthur's Camelot thingamabob.
I don't know. That didn't have Daniel.
It did have a lot of dumb, though. And it did, to be fair...
that had Ramjet ramming people as a jet. I'm sorry.
It's still pretty dumb.
Yeah, Ramjet rammed people as a jet, Andy.
It's still pretty dumb.
His name is
Mikey,
Ramjet.
Mikey, was there a mini Constructicon?
No.
Then who cares?
True, but still. I'll say this. I don't care. Arco could, be the most painful character in the world, and I'd still take her over fucking Daniel. Because Daniel is an actual hindrance to life. Because he will get
I don't think he was
killed.
even the worst of the child trope from 80s cartoons, though, to be fair.
Oh no, not that. I think what's his name and T-Bob really owned that one.
Yeah, they were pretty bad.
Yeah, Daniel is like the Transformers equivalent, and because Transformers weirdly was higher quality than a lot of 80s cartoons.
Yeah.
Even though he's terrible, he's still better.
You know what G.I. Joe never had? A child character. Yeah.
I never thought about that before.
Yeah, there was no shitty child character on G.I. Joe because he would bring a child to war.
A lot of 80s characters.
Yes, yeah. The American military forces decided, you know what? We're not going to take children into combat. Alien robots from space? Fuck it. Come on, Daniel. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
Alien robots in the middle of a war.
Yep. Dinosaurs. All about dinosaurs and kids.
Yep. Extreme Dinosaurs had kids.
Did it? Hang on, did they have kids? Or
Extreme Dinosaurs had sexy science lady.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. A lot of some of those kids. And then it all culminated in Kicker, who can die in a fire.
Yay! Yeah, well, he was unfortunately an anime trope as well.
He was
not one of the good ones.
Terrible anime trope. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thank you for listening. If you'd like to hear the extended show, today we're going to do Atomic Robo Knights of the Golden Circle. You can give us just $2 to Patreon, and you'll get that, and you'll get extended episodes of the comics, and you'll get interviews early, and you'll get the monthly woo-woo show. Andy's doing something spooky this month, I'm assuming. And
you're not really a spooky boy, really, are you? So
I like psychological stuff more than jump.
Yeah. The problem is there's not many of them, and there's even less that are really good.
What I like is psychological stuff, or I like classic horror.
What do you class as classic horror?
Like proper, this is all about tension. You know the monster's there. It's not about and the monster appears and you have a jump scare. It's about this thing is terrifying and it's building and it's building and it's building and it's building and it's building. I love horror like that.
We found out what the monster was, Mikey.
It was man.
It was man.
It was man.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and if you want to contact me, Irish Paleo, the email address for the podcast is moonbase2@gmail.com, and you can contact us via the usual wrath of places. Andy, what about you?
You can find me on YouTube as Corporate Commander TFW. You can find me on Twitter as Decayed Andy. Decayed is in a corpse, not as in an amount of time. And you can also find me on Twitter as at Decayed Andy. Capital D and A, because, they're separate words, but you push them together and they make one word.
Also, we didn't cover it today, but Transformers Wreckers Thread and Circuits came out today.
Is that the new Wrecker show?
Yep.
Show. Comic. Jesus.
Yep, that came out.
Have you read it?
Yep.
Brief thoughts out of interest.
Sorry.
It's all right. Okay. Will I like it? Is it all right like this comic?
So, I'll be honest, Andy. If the bits you'll like have been released in a preview, I'll send them over to you.
Is this the thing that you mentioned on Twitter where it's they've released the whole issue through the previews?
I think it was between 8 pages came out.
Oh my god, that is half the comic. Holy shit.
So, what I'll do is, after this, I'll send you on the pages that you'll like. and then we'll worry about everything else.
Oh,
later.
is it Sakamoto? Is it like a
No,
sexy bath
it's-
pool scene drawn by Sakamoto? No? Oh.
It's Jack Lawrence, so it's more Lost-like kind of stuff. But actually, like, this is like the best art Jack's done.
You know what we need, Mikey? I'm gonna throw it out there. Do you remember the X-Men Summer swimsuit edition?
Oh my god.
You remember that, don't you?
I do, yes.
And there was a male one as well. It wasn't just the X-Men ladies. There was the X-Men boys as well for the for the female
Discerning,
viewers and
discerning
other people,
reader.
discerning viewers. Yeah. So why don't we have a Sakamoto one?
With Transformers.
Yes. Boom.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm sure he
Boom.
could, like, I mean, you could do, oh man, you could do, like, how some official artists draw Kamen Rider with, like, this ridiculous package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know how
No.
you tie it together?
Yep.
It's a beach swimsuit competition done by Mayor Megatron for the summer vacation
Oh, why
of the
did you say
Legends
that?
universe.
Why would you say that? Now you know I want it.
Because it's a good idea and it's fun and it's stupid. And it would
is.
piss off so many people.
I want it so badly now. I got asked. This is just extended to the podcast, guys. Deal with it. I got asked during the week if I ever thought of doing a Legends panel for a convention.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Like, this is Legends. This is why it's good. TF Wiki really needs to update its description beyond, oh no, the early stuff. Oh god, breasts. But like, because my god, is Legends the best Transformers fiction to come out in the last at least 5
I would
years.
be interested to see you do a panel on Legends. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I might. I'm toying with the idea. If I'm completely honest.
On it.
We could, but yeah, but that's just preaching to the converted.
What's your point?
So, so I've sent Andy on the pages from records that I think he'll like. I don't think they're in order though, because I selected them in order, but I don't think they came up in order. So you have to, yeah. So you'll figure out the order. Yeah, you got to read page 2 and then the page next to it.
Oh, I'd have to read them. Okay, I'm not going to read them right now.
But they are basically, it's pretender shit, evil pretenders.
Yeah. No, I saw that, but I was like, oh, okay, that's cute.
And it's better than the rest of the book.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we'll let you go.
Bye.
Bye.
You are now leaving